Hey, I'm Chris, and this is MMA for You. I'm going to be doing my post-fight analysis for UFC Fight Night 94, but before I get into that, I'd like to plug my own author's website at www.chrismontano.com. I am an author specializing in the fantasy genre, and you can buy some of my works, starting with my first novel, an action-adventure called The Mustard Prince in the Condiment Kingdom, for $4.99 on my website on PDF format, or if you have an e-reader such as a Kindle, you can buy it for $4.99 on Amazon.com. Also, you can buy some of my short stories and short story collections for just $1.99 on my website on Amazon.com, starting with the fantasy horror short story, Land of the Wooden Statues, which I'm trying to make into a full novel. The horror collection, which is a compilation of three of my gothic horror short stories, and my fantasy fable collection, which is a compilation of four of my fantasy fable short stories. Links to where to buy these will be provided on the descriptions, along with a link to my Twitter page, a link to my author's page on Facebook, and a link to my author's YouTube page, which has like manga reviews and like short story readings and whatnot. Okay, so on to this card. Um, mix, there. I thought it was a mixed bag. I mean, there were some really cool knockouts. Of course, the main event. I thought Dunham versus Glenn was a lot of fun. Chas Skelly was, that was fun. There's some great, weird fights like Cornero Robertson, which is just kind of all right. Um, mixed bag might actually be putting this card down. I didn't actually realize how many finishes were on this card. Um, I'd actually just go with more good than bad. Actually, there's a good amount of finishes. I guess there was like one fight on the card that was just kind of with Cornero versus Robertson. But otherwise, most of the other fights were pretty good actually. My picks, I got seven of them correct. Uh, it's either out of 12 or if you count the draw. If you don't count the draw between Morales and Perez, that'd be 11. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought that Morales should actually won that fight. That was really odd. It's an odd fight. Bonuses: Dunham and Glenn earned fight of the night, while Johnson and Skelly got performance of the night. So, you know, as far as like taking some stuff away from this card, Johnson's back in the mix, I guess. Brunson's gonna, I think I guess gonna fight for the title soon. Some of the prospects look good, like Tkachev and Randy Brown look good. And I gotta say, I keep underestimating the Ultimate Fighter Latin America Season 1 fighters. All of these guys have been really showing some really good work. Obviously, Yair Rodriguez is a standout, but I didn't expect Quinones to look this good. Gabriel Benitez has always been kind of like hit or miss with me, but he just looks solid here. There's guys like Marco Beltran that actually look pretty good now. Um, some of these guys are from you know see Latin America season one. Look pretty solid actually. Let's get started. Michael Johnson defeated Dustin Poirier by knockout in the first round. So it was a great win for Johnson, and it really goes to show something about the very top level of the most weight divisions, but especially of lightweight. And that is if you have a noticeable weakness, it will be exploited at some point at the elite levels. Whether it's like Nate Diaz and not the best takedown defense, or um, defense against leg kicks. That gets exploited not by the mid-level guy, but like by like the top guys. In this case, Poirier has always had some pretty bad defense. And part of his bad defense in this fight, if you actually watch Johnson and the way he finished Poirier, he was actually hitting Poirier off of the counter quite a bit. How was he able to do that? Poirier doesn't have a what I like to call an exit strategy, where it's like you throw a combination and you just kind of stand there. You know, you don't step out, you don't bob and weave out or anything. You just kind of stand there and almost wait to get countered, unless the other guy just backs off. There's a few fighters that have this problem. Kevin Lee is another one that like, greatly has this problem. Poirier has this problem as well. Yancy Medeiros is pretty bad about it too. Jessica I is pretty bad about that. Um, they just have this no exit strategy, so they get countered quite a bit. Uh, Interesting stat here too. Apparently Johnson like there's some sort of stat with him where like when he was the underdog, I don't know, 6, 7 times, he was like he won 5 of those bouts, and then when he was a favorite in like so many bouts, he's actually lost quite a bit. So he actually has a really interesting underdog statistic. Um, this one just puts Johnson back in the mix. You know, he was coming off a losing streak, if I'm not mistaken, but Dariush and Nate Diaz, right? And now he's coming off a big one over Poirier. He's beaten top guys in like Edson Barboza. The next appropriate fight, as far as rankings go, would probably be Michael Chiesa. Michael Chiesa is just barely above him in the rankings. Um, Will Brooks is below him in the rankings. He's fighting Alex Oliveira, Alex Cowboy. Johnson versus the winner of that fight wouldn't be too bad. I mean, if the UFC goes with like Eddie Alvarez versus Conor McGregor, I suppose that leaves Habib Nurmagomedov to need an opponent, and Michael Johnson versus Nurmagomedov wouldn't be the worst thing. Uh, Johnson's already fought Ferguson. He hasn't fought Dos Anjos, so as far as Poirier, though, maybe get like Gilbert Melendez because he's coming off a loss to Barboza. Maybe the loser of Brooks versus Oliveira, or maybe even the loser of Tony Ferguson versus Rafael Dos Anjos. I mean, Poirier is still up there, but this loss, you know, that guy was riding some huge momentum. Uh, you know, knocking guys out and just looking really good, looking well rounded. But like I said, if you have some sort of weakness on the elite level, especially at lightweight, it just gets exploited. Like that's what happened to like uh, Anthony Pettis. Um, you know, if you can't block the leg kicks, for example, then some opponent there is going to start is going to exploit that. For example, if you're not a good wrestler, that's going to be exploited or something, you know. Uh, but yeah, you know, Michael Johnson definitely back in the mix after this one. Next fight after that, Derek Brunson defeated Uriah Hall by knockout, TKO in the first round. This was a questionable stoppage by Herb Dean, but like, fact of the matter is that Uriah Hall got dropped, and it did look like a lot of the follow-up ground and pound was connecting. But the thing with Hall was that he grabbed onto Herb Dean's leg, and it's just not a good look to do that. And then as he's getting up, he was kind of wobbly. So it's not a terrible stoppage, but it's not a good stop. Like it's one of those stoppages that like it probably Derek Brunson could have probably rained down just a little more ground and pound. Um, this says some good stuff about Bronson. I mean, he's been getting a good amount of first round KOs. He's knocked out Herman, Alvey all in the first round. Um, Only loss lately was to Yoel Romero, and a fight he was actually doing really well at. And Wouldn't surprise me if Derek Brunson eventually gets a title shot. He's a good fighter. You know, he can wrestle well. He's big. He has heavy hands. His striking's improving. Biggest problem with Brunson, though, is that he does have a tendency to leave his chin up, especially as he's throwing punches, and someone's gonna exploit that. I don't know who, but I can see him getting countered pretty bad because of that. Right now, though, guys that are above Brunson coming off wins, Gegard Mousasi and Robert Whitaker. And either one of those fights would be a good, appropriate next fight for either one of these guys. Uriah Hall, I mean, if he didn't get that big win over Gegard Mousasi, he would be stuck in mid-tier purgatory, which is like the one place you don't want to be in middleweight. Because he's lost like Rafael Natal. He lost to John Howard early on. You know, he can beat a good amount of mid-tier guys, but then like he's his own worst enemy. With that said, though, Hall should probably get like the loser of Eric Spicely versus Thiago Santos, or maybe even Chris Camozzi next. Even though he's fought Thiago Santos, I think that'd still be a pretty cool fight, nonetheless. Next fight after that, Evan Dunham defeated Rick Glenn by unanimous decision. Glenn showed his toughness and chin. This is a case where, like, you know, being so tough may be your own worst enemy too, because it's like, how much damage that do to that guy's brain? You know what I mean? Uh, Dunham's boxing looks good here. He was actually just a better everything here. Better wrestler, better BJJ player. But I like Dunham's boxing because one thing he does have that is the opposite of what I was saying about Poirier was that Dunham has really good exit strategies. He'll throw a combination, and then his head and his whole body will be somewhere else. It's like, okay, I'm over here now. Okay, he throws a combination, I'm over here. There were actually some exchanges here that were really interesting because it looks like they were brawling. If you actually watch the fight, it's Evan Dunham actually hitting Rick Glenn clean. Rick Glenn trying to use a hook as a counter. Dunham um, bobbing and weaving and just countering back. And then Dunham wasn't actually getting hit that much during the brawling exchanges, surprisingly enough. He's really improved his boxing. Guys that'll beat Dunham are guys that probably out-athlete him or just better at one particular aspect of MMA. But, like, if Dunham's shown that, like, if he can exploit something against a lesser fighter, he'll do that. You know, it's like, oh, you know, Rick Glenn, smaller guy. Well, he just exploited everything. You know, Dunham was able to just outbox Glenn and out-wrestle him. Just outdo him in a lot of phases of the game. Glenn should definitely be fighting at 145. He looked undersized. He's tough. I think he can do really well in that weight class. Excuse me. It's kind of late. But, with Dunham, you know, he's number 15 in the rankings right now. He should probably get the winner of, like, L.A. Quina versus Thiago Alves. Maybe the winner of Brooks versus Alex Cowboy. Or you can go with, like, Rashid Magomedov, who's, like, one rank above Dunham. As far as that round, Cornero defeated Kenny Robertson by split decision. This fight sucked. I was expecting a lot more from Kenny Robertson, and I was a bit disappointed with him too because one thing that actually cost him in this fight was his lack of combination punching. There were times that he had Cornero up against cage, he'd throw something with his left side, whether it's a left low kick or jab or something of the sort, and then he didn't throw anything else. The problem is Cornero would then circle to Robertson's right, which would lead me to believe that had Kenny Robertson thrown a follow-up right hand uppercut straight overhand or something, it probably would have connected against Cornero quite a bit. And there's a lot of times during the fight, if you look at Cornero against a cage, Robertson would throw like a single strike, and then Cornero would circle towards the other way. I think combination punching would have really helped Robertson in this bout. Um, the decision was a bit weird. 30-27 Cornero, I don't necessarily agree with. I thought that Robertson got the second round. Oh. But, this fight just wasn't very good. There's some things that are pretty cool. Some of the sweeps were pretty cool. The fact that Robertson was able to sweep Cornero with the butterfly hook was actually very surprising considering Cornero's background in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Um, Otherwise, yeah, it just wasn't a good fight, and both these guys just kind of get stuck in like mid-tier welterweight purgatory. I mean, there's really not much else to say. Uh, Next fight after that, Islam Makhachev defeated Chris Wade by unanimous decision. This was a fun fight as far as the scrambles on the ground went. I figured Makhachev would generally be the better wrestler, and I felt that he was. You know, Even in the first round, Makachev went for that triangle. He almost got it, actually. There's actually one point where it did look pretty deep. Wade was able to get out of it. Um, One thing, it's kind of funny because one thing that happened was that Wade really kept selling out on that guillotine, and it cost him a good amount of times. Um, I noticed the mistakes that are made on the ground that allowed the scrambles to happen. One thing that my coach always tells me, Wade had Makhachev in a guillotine. Makhachev was in half guard, and he passed to mount. My instructor actually tells me I want never to do that if you're guillotined and then you pass to mount, because what happens is your base is just gone. You can't really like the position of your body is really awkward if you actually think about it. If you mount a guy, but you're still guillotined, your head's like in there, you're really just like slumped over in a sense. Um, and it's easy for you to get reversed, and that's what happened. There was a missed armbar from Makachev. Um, Wade selling out on that armbar, or excuse me, on the guillotine, really cost him a lot of times. Um, so there was like small mistakes that were made that really caught was really yeah, like set up the scramble situation. But overall, Makhachev looked good here. His wrestling, his overall grappling looked really strong. I'd like to see more from his striking. He didn't throw too much, but with Chris Wade too, it's like I think Sambo guys are gonna be his kryptonite. I really do. He's lost to Sam Love. Now he just lost to Islam Makhachev. I think Wade's still a decent prospect, whereas Islam Makhachev's really going places. Um, just more lower to mid tier guys in the division for both. So as that, Chaskelly defeated Maximo Blanco by Darce in the first round. How fun was this? 19 seconds, I mean, it starts off with both guys throwing jump kicks, with Skelly throwing like a jumping front kick. Scramble on the ground. A guillotine turns into Darce from a scramble. Maximo Blanco just goes out. Chas Skelly gets a cool win, I'm not really big on Chas Skelly fighting Darren Elkins again, but if he wants to fight some more top level competition, I'd be fine. He's a really fun grappler. He's a guy that really goes for the finish. He's really good at taking the back. He has quite a squeeze too. His striking is still just so awkward. His footwork's real awkward. His striking mechanics are a bit awkward. I don't know how far he's gonna get because I don't know if he's ever truly gonna pick up striking that well on a technical level, Chas Skelly. But I can see him being a top 11 to 15. I think there's just kind of a point where that technical deficiency is going to hurt him. And he's already lost to Elkins too, so um, and Elkins is kind of that top, gatekeeper to the top 10. Maximo Blanco, I mean, what can you say? You know, it's Maximo Blanco. You know, this guy can he has all the skill in the world, but you know, it's just something wrong mentally. Uh, you know, the fact that like Maximo Blanco started out with a jump kick, you know, it's not the smartest thing for both them, and both of them are just kind of playing this, you know, we're playing this like real 50-50 gambit here, you know, and Chess Kelly won out by both throwing jumping kicks. I don't know what happens to Blanco. I don't know if he gets cut. I mean, he's kind of there now. He's just kind of it's a guy that's kind of there now. You know, it's lost like what a couple in a row now. Lost to Luke Sanders before this in the first round. Now lost to Chas Skelly. So I don't know what happens to Maximo Blanco. I can actually see. Wouldn't surprise me if he gets cut. Chas Skelly though. It's tough to say who he should fight next. Like he seems like he can comfortably beat a good amount of mid-level guys. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him fight some top 15 guys next. Got a prelims. Gabriel Benitez defeated Sam Cecilia by guillotine in the second round. Yeah, you know I absolutely underestimated Gabriel Benitez. You know he got knocked out by Andre Fili last time out. You know, and before that he beat like I don't know, just some like was it Collard or something like that. You know, he's looked all right. This fight though, man, he looks solid. He just looks like a good overall, you know, well-rounded fighter now. You know, he's punching the combination. His kicks look deadly here. Everything looked clean too. All of his strikes look clean. His kicks look clean. His grappling looked good. Yeah, I like what I saw from Gabriel Benitez here. I was actually really surprised just how like clean he looked here. Sam Cecilia, you know, he was actually connecting a bit here and there on Benitez. Was never able to really wobble and or drop him. And Cecilia just kind of, you know, he's just kind of there. I think he's just kind of a low level action fighter at this point. He's lost to, like Cole Miller. Who else has he lost to? He's lost to, like other mid level guys too. I think he has staying power in the UFC. You know, Cecilia's always been something of a decent hand for the organization at featherweight. So, um, you know, just more lower to mid guys at the division for both. So after that, Bilal Muhammad defeated Augusto Montano by TKO in the third round. Nice to see Muhammad utilizing his wrestling. He was actually passing to Mount quite easily. Montano did not look good on the ground. He had like an open half guard a lot of times. Striking, I mean, Montano is like kind of awkward because he'll he makes these really big movements sometimes when he punches. Like he'll throw this right hand and really leap into it and just make this big movement out, throw the side kick and whatnot. He has some decent knees, but like he's not very technical and a little too unorthodox that it's not exactly help. You know, it's not gonna help against a guy that's pretty technical and below Muhammad. He's able to time his takedowns well, box pretty well. You know, Montano also, man, that guy has like no defense on his right side. I mean, Muhammad was able to hit left hooks and like left kicks almost at will on Montano. With that said, I mean, Bilal Muhammad, he's a decent prospect. You know, just more lower to mid-tier guys at the division for both. I don't know if Montano's on a win streak right now or a losing streak though. Tough to say. And so after that, Antonio Carlos Jr. defeated Leonardo Augusto Laleco by rear naked choke in the third round. Good stuff from Carlos Jr. here. You know, his wrestling's good and his ability to take the back is excellent. And Laleco, he's just tough. You know, like he hits pretty hard, but he brawls a lot, and he's decent on the ground defensively. But like He's not a specialist anywhere, but he's like dirt. He's just really tough. Dirt tough. You know. But this is a win that Antonio Carlos Jr. needed after that loss. Really surprising loss to Dan Kelly. Um, he still needs to work on his striking, obviously, but it looks like it's slowly but surely improving. And then, like I said, wrestling and grappling are definitely a step above a lot of the division. So Antonio Carlos Jr. is definitely a guy I feel that can get out of mid-tier purgatory, whereas Leleco is firmly entrenched in it. Wouldn't even surprise me if he gets cut. This is Leleco's second loss in a row in the UFC, and like, besides being really tough, I mean, it's not particularly skilled or like technically skilled. With Ghost Jr., you should just get more like mid-level guys of the division. Your Sam Alves, your it'd be a good fight actually for Antonio Carlos Jr. I'd like to actually see him fight Krzysztof Jotko, because both of them, like, Jotko's actually in a good win streak. He looks like he's breaking out in mid-tier purgatory. Carlos Jr. is just good prospect. Next up, Jose Quinones defeated Joey Gomez by unanimous decision. Once again, I was watching before I did the predictions for this matchup. I watched Jose Quinones' fight against Leonardo Morales. And I was like, okay, I'm not really impressed with his striking. It looks awkward. His ground game looks good, but it's like Leonardo Morales doesn't really have a ground game. So it's like, yeah, of course you're gonna look good. But Quinones looked good here. He's moving well, hitting good strikes. He did. There was some danger from Gomez, but otherwise, Quinones was also just the better grappler here too. Gomez, I think it's the first time he's ever gone to decision. He still needs some work. He hits pretty hard, uh, but otherwise, there's just not much complexity to this game. But Quinones actually looks pretty decent here. I gotta say, and I'm curious to see where he goes next. Quinones should probably get some more lower to mid guys at the division. Gomez, second loss in a row. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets cut. Might get kept for one more bout though. Next fight that Randy Brown defeated Eric Montano by guillotine in the third round. Randy Brown's a good prospect. He's real athletic. He's still not great off of his back though. And he, for a guy who's like 6'2", 6'3", and one of the taller guys of the division, he's got to start using a jab. I mean, he's good on the inside. His knees are real strong, and he's pretty good in the clinch. But like otherwise, his hands aren't the greatest. He has good kicks too, though. Um, yeah, I'm actually just surprised, like seeing his build, that he's not more of an outfighter than he is. But otherwise, he's getting good wins. He's a good prospect. Has a pretty good front choke series, which is a perfect, like, it's a perfect like skill to have for a guy who has like long arms. Um, with him, just more. Both these guys, just more lower to mid guys of the division. And finally, Albert Morales defeated versus Alejandro Perez was ruled a majority draw. Really odd scorecard to me. I totally thought that Morales, because Perez got a point deduction in the second round. I thought Morales won the first and second rounds. I thought he was just going forward more. Alejandro Perez, I mean, he's good. Okay, he can wrestle a bit, he can strike a bit, but he's not a high volume striker, for one thing. And that's also why I picked Morales, because he was just on him. He'd miss a good amount of punches. Perez would slip a bunch, but like, sometimes Perez wouldn't do anything back. And some the few times that he did, I mean, he was hitting them with some good like counter left hooks and whatnot, but it wasn't a lot that was the thing. It's just Morales is pushing forward and just throwing more. I think Morales is a pretty good prospect, though. He looked pretty solid here. Like I said, I thought he should have actually got the win. That third round was kind of weird, though, because he blatantly kneed Perez, and the ref didn't see it and didn't take a point away from Morales. But otherwise, I guess there's more lower to mid guys for both. I think Morales has the more upside than Perez, whereas Perez, I just kind of see Perez as solid but not spectacular. But Perez will beat a good amount of lower and even some mid tier guys. Um, Albert Morales, though, I think there's some real potential in him. So that's pretty much it for my post-fight analysis for UFC Fight Night 94. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And please check out my author's website at www.chrismoldon.com. You can buy some of my works, starting with my first novel, The Mustard Prince in the Condiment Kingdom, for $4.99 on my website or on Amazon.com. And for just $1.99 on my website or on Amazon.com, get some of my short stories and short story collection, starting with The Land of the Wooden Statues. Then there's the horror collection and the fantasy fable collection. And links to buy these will be provided in the description, along with my link to my Twitter page, my author's page on Facebook, and my author's YouTube page as well. So that's pretty much it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.